Shalom, is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet Good Torah. We got Rabbi Mordecai Darvish of the Gates of Mordecai. If you like what you're seeing, please like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. We want to hear all your comments. We want to hear what you're thinking. So in the news recently, there's been a lot of talk about the Ten Commandments. Louisiana just passed a new law where they want to get, and we're going to read a news article, they want to get the law into the schools. So we're going to take a look at what this new law is, what they're trying to do, the battle over religion in America. We're going to take a look at actually the First Amendment of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. What does it actually say? And then we'll go into the Aseres Dibros, the Ten Commandments themselves. What do they actually say? A lot of people don't even really know what the Ten Commandments are. All right, let's jump into this news article. You got any opening salvos? Anything you want to, thoughts, anything? Or should we just jump right in? What do you think?
Right in.
All right, right in. We're going right in today. It's going to be big. All right, so this is an ABC News article. Let me see if I can, let's see, the date is June 19th. Okay. It says Louisiana public schools and colleges will be required to post an image of the Ten Commandments next year after a controversial bill was signed into law. Is it really controversial? I love the constant, yeah, the
The
constant,
ABC News is controversial, right?
yeah,
In
maybe.
Louisiana, it's not so controversial, no, is
Maybe they're controversial, what they want. So
it?
under
Yeah.
under HB 71, public classrooms starting from kindergarten to the collegiate level must have a poster of the commandments up at the start of 2025. So civil rights groups have already questioned the law that passed in Louisiana's Republican-controlled state legislature on May 28th, contending it violates the separation of church and state in public buildings. We're going to talk about that. Is there really such a thing as separation of church and state? The American Civil Liberties Union has threatened to sue. Uh-oh. The bill was signed by Republican Governor Jeff Landry, along with a package of others he said were designed to expand faith in public schools. If you want to respect the rule of law, you got to start from the original lawgiver, which is Moses, Landry said at a news conference where he signed the bill. The bill's authors contend that the measure is not solely religious, but it has historical significance. No other state currently has such a mandate for display of the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are described in the law's text as foundational documents of our state and national government. History records that James Madison, the fourth president of the United States of America, stated that we have staked the whole future of our new nation upon the capacity of each of ourselves to govern ourselves according to the moral principles of the Ten Commandments, the text of the law read. The displays, which will be paid for by private donations and not state dollars, will be displayed on a poster or framed document, the law says. The legislation's text also calls for it to be printed in large, easily readable font, and displays will also be paired with a 4-paragraph context statement describing how the Ten Commandments were a prominent part of the American public education for almost 3 centuries. The Louisiana ACLU, however, contended that the law's language is blatantly unconstitutional and said in a statement it plans to sue the state. The ACLU cited the 1980 U.S. Supreme Court decision, Stone versus Graham, which ruled that a similar law passed in Kentucky for its public school system violated the Establishment Clause of the U.S. Constitution. All right, so I think we
A
got a
lot
little
of
gist
mumbo
here.
jumbo over there.
All right, so what's going on? What do you think?
No, I think it's like we talked a little bit off air. Is that there's a war right now. War. Who's going to get to the children first, and what messages they're going to inculcate in them? And it seems like the quote unquote secularists have taken evil agenda, evil meaning against God agenda, to inculcate in the kids, gender issues and morality issues that have long gone against, the long established norm of the past. And because, let's say, the right wing or, the religious people, and good, decent Americans have long held to these things to be very, very important, just let it be, because they're like, oh, we trust the government and we trust the school system to take care of our kids, and just not really thinking about it, just leaving it on the back burner. And they took it away. They instead of leaving it as something bland, they took it to their own type of religion, right? It wasn't something just bland. We're just going to teach the kids history, mathematics, English, right? Reading, writing, and science, and leave it at that. No, we're going to try to inculcate to them some kind of message, which is anti good, anti God. And now there's a little bit of a backlash, and like the people who are crying foul are, totally incorrect. They're totally, out of line, and they're trying to cite things and twist them, as you said before.
Yeah. No, so I mean, my dad said when he went to school, so he went to public school here in Baltimore also. And he said like when he was in school, they would read like they would pick a verse or a couple verses out of the Torah or the Bible. And like he would always pick the prophet Joel, because his name's Joel. So he would always read from he
Yeah,
would,
kids that were named after prophets,
yeah.
Zechariah, Isaiah. They were named after prophets, like giving them some kind of importance. Jacob, Yaakov, Isaac, Abraham. You don't see these names anymore. It's
Yeah, so
flown.
yeah,
It's like these
yeah.
crazy, like
Blair.
Nimrod. You know,
Blair. No,
Blair. Like
oh, yeah,
these
only
weird, these
only
weird names all of a sudden.
only in Israel do you meet people actually named Nimrod. It's amazing. It's a Pella. But no, but so our generation, like Generation X, like the ACLU, the liberals, they had already sued religion out of the public school system. So they had already removed, by the time we got to school, there was no religion in school anymore. It was only Shakespeare. We
Right.
never learned about
Right.
Abraham. Abraham is one of the most influential people in world history. Every major world religion that's around today comes from Abraham. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and then a lot of people don't realize, but he sent children, his children with Keturah went to India. And if you look at the ancient, like Hinduism, the Brahmins, the priest, that it's probably corrupted teachings from Abraham, from Abraham. Like the Upanishads, which is one of the older texts, is monotheist, I believe. I haven't studied this stuff in a while, but then it all gets corrupted into Hinduism, and then out of
Right.
Hinduism comes Buddhism. So you're talking about all the major religions in the world are coming from Abraham, but yet he's not someone that people need to learn about in public school. Like he never existed. Like let's
Well,
pretend he never existed.
well, yeah. I think when we were going to school, is yeah, like you said, it was legislated out of the system, right? And there was nothing. It was bland. It was pretty much just teach the core subjects, and that was it. But that vacuum has now been filled with anti-religion,
Mm.
and anti-religion in itself is a religion,
Oh yeah.
right? It's a way of thinking that that's antithetical, which in itself is a religion. Some people call it Satanism. Okay, but it is against God. To be against God is a religion. It's not blank. It's not atheist, and I'm just living like in a blank slate, and whatever happens happens.
Yeah, no, it's the atheist fantasy. Let's pretend God doesn't exist. Let's pretend monkeys magically change into people. Let's pretend all these crazy things. Let's pretend men magically change into women and women magically change into men. Let's pretend all the nonsense. And what's the root of the self-worship religion? Because they want to do whatever they want to do. So people can do
Do
whatever
do
they
do
want.
what art thou will, right?
Yeah.
Follow your inclinations. Follow the evil inclination.
Oh, by the way, just a little side point. Like I saw recently, I looked this up. I was looking at I was interested because I've heard, so many people in pop culture are interested in Aleister Crowley and like the dark magic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He is a great lesson in Musser, a great lesson in the warning of the danger of magic. He was someone that was a young, good-looking man at one of the top schools in England. I think he was at Cambridge. He had a massive inheritance. He spent a life doing evil and black magic. He died all alone, racked with disease, old, ugly. I don't think he had any legitimate children. And I mean that's the path of dark magic. That all these celebrities are holding up and worshiping and saying this is so great. It's dangerous. It destroys a
Well,
person. Yeah.
well, yeah. If you don't have some kind of religion, you have to fill the vacuum with something, and that something, that emptiness, is going to be the other side. It
Yeah.
can't be. There's no in the middle. Like you're tilted towards either good or evil. There's no like I'm blank. I'm nothing. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to have us believe for so long that you can be nothing. And I think the The Muslims of the world are showing them, no, you can't. You got to believe. Either it's God or we're going to kill you.
Well, I do. I mean, according to Rambam, though, most people are Benoni. So most people are kind of in the middle, and they're going back. Like it's not you're not your everyday person is going to the extreme of
Not
evil like an
not in
Aleister
theory.
Crowley.
They're Beno. No. That's in practice. You could be like, in practice, I'm not the greatest, righteous person in the world. But in theory, there is no room in theory to be like, oh, I'm just in the middle. I'm nothing.
Okay, yeah,
Because like you're gonna do stuff whether you like it or not in the world, and the world's going to have things. They're going to replace, the religious festivals that you had with some kind of party. And what's that party going to be rooted in? You know what I mean? Self worship, hedonism. It's going to be where, in theory, you got to have something to fill the vacuum. And if you don't have that theory, fill the vacuum, it's going to go to the other side. The other side is the dark side. The dark side is Satan. The dark side is evil inclination, and they may not seem harmful at first, but their end result is harm.
I mean that's a fair point, right? That's a fair point there. But then if you look at the other side, if you look at the side of kedusha, if you look at the side of holiness of the great chachami and the great sages that are, devoting their lives to the Torah, you see a different picture. You see not someone that dies, like broke and poor and empty. You see a fulfilled life. You see someone that has many, many children, many grandchildren. They see many great grandchildren. They're surrounded by family. They're surrounded by love. So the path of the Torah leads to that. So not only life in this world, but it leads to obviously, the life in Olam Haba. That we're trying to transform this world into, bringing Shemayim down to the Aretz, bringing the heavens down to the earth, filling this world with the spirituality and the knowledge of Hashem. That's I read something beautiful. I think it was in the Tanya over Shabbos. It was saying that the mitzvos are like the goof of the Shekhinah. And it's like you when you do the mitzvahs, we're creating the body, we're creating the Merkava, we're creating the physical space for the Shekhinah to live in this world. And then ultimately we want to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash, the temple, and actually create the space, where the Shekhinah can live among us on earth, where Hashem's physical manifestation can live among us on earth. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful thing. Yeah. All right,
that
let's
is the
actually
goal. So when you look at the Ten Commandments, although they don't apply to the nations of the world, but they primarily the Jews, their message is a good one. It helps foster a good society, as opposed to leaving something blank and whatever the whims of the person, the teachers, the secularists. We see the degradation of society, the degeneration of society, drugs, depression, anxiety, transgenderism, the gays, lesbians. These things don't foster the traditional two-parent home, family unit, which has built cultures and societies. You know, those things were prevalent in every downfall of every civilization.
Yeah. Let's look real quick. This is actually what the First Amendment says. So what the liberals, the ACLU, what they've taken this idea of separation in church and state. What's interesting is the Constitution never says anything like that. This is the actual First Amendment. It says Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's it. That's all it really says. So really the government can't like pick a religion or have like a national religion and then stamp out all other religions. But it doesn't really say anything in here you couldn't teach like comparative religion in public school, or you can't teach about historical religious figures. It's nothing here about this quote unquote separation of church and state.
Yeah, I think also like the law mandating that the Ten Commandments be displayed is not a religious thing per se. I think it's a good, healthy ideas that the state wants to institute. It's not saying like you have to now go to church on Sunday or synagogue on Saturday or mosque on Friday. It's not instituting any kind of religion. It's just saying like these are good things that all men should live by. Let's go through the Ten Commandments and show what these things are, and you see that they're good fundamental ideas that they're tips for life, so to speak, quote unquote, if you take them out of the religious context. And so, what's the big deal here?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a backlash. I mean, I think the Judeo-Christian, like half the country, the conservative half of the country, they said we watched for decades as you strip religion out of the schools, and we were okay because like we were just we were giving our children religion outside the public schools. That's fine. Like there's freedom of religion, so everyone's taking their children to Jewish day schools, or Christians were taking their children to the Christian schools on Sunday, and the Muslims are taking their children to the mosque. And so okay, so fine, okay, so but now the liberals have pushed it so far, like you're saying, they're pushing this, what it says in Parsha Chazinu, the low L, the no God, the atheist religion. And you're pushing it so far that now you're jamming drag queens into the schools. So if you want to go that far, fine, we're going to come back and we're going to put religion back in the schools. You want to go crazy? Yeah.
I don't think it's even religion. It's just like good ideas, good fundamental ideas. It's not saying let's change your kids to be like these something that they're not. You know what I mean? It's like what's wrong with these ideas? There's nothing wrong with them. They're 100% healthy. You know what I mean? It's like let's eat healthy, and the back is like, no, we want pizza and junk food. What are you talking about?
No, I agree. I mean, I think it's like the attempt to get some kind of morality back into public.
Yeah.
There's some kind of ethics and morality. Good.
It just so happens that the good ethics and good morality comes from quote unquote religion.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder. God created the system, and he gave us tips on how to run it.
Right. So okay. So we just celebrated the holiday of Shavuos, which is where we celebrate actually standing before Har Sinai. We stood before Mount Sinai. There's interesting tradition. There's midrashim. There's a Gadada that every Jewish neshama, every Jewish soul was there. We heard this infinite being speak to us, and right, this is why the world was created. The world was created, for the Torah. The Torah is the way we become close to Hashem. This is the blueprint. These are the 10 main categories of all the mitzvos, and then the 613 fall into these 10 main categories. So let's go through it a little. Let's see what the Seres Dibros, the 10 Commandments, actually are. You want to start with number one, or?
Yeah, sure, no problem. But just to clarify, it's not
Okay.
the 10 Commandments. It's 10 sayings.
Okay.
Right? Not 10 mitzvos, 10 Dibros, right?
Oh, but I believe each one of these is one of the 613 derisive mitzvos. Each one of these is a mitzvah.
They're connected. They're connected to all the commandments. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one is Anochi Adonai Elohecha asher hotzetzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibet avadim. Right? I am the God, right? We're going to say the Yud Kei Vav Kei is a very big translation, but it's the God that was, always, and will be, who is your God, that took you out of Egypt, right? In a house of slavery and bondage.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is the first commandment, meaning like you have to recognize that there's the first being who saved you.
Yeah. No, so right, one thing I'd like to add. So right, so the name of Hashem, it's the aspect of how this infinite being relates to us through rachamim, through compassion, through love. So he's using that aspect. He's saying, and that aspect of chesed, of kindness and love, this name, the Ein Sof, the infinite being, like he used to create everything that exists. So he's talking to us through that aspect, and it's the aspect of also, like you were saying, like he created all time and space.
So the first commandment is to know that there's this God that's in existence, to know and believe in him.
And then I think it's also very interesting. He's saying that, I took you out of Egypt when you were slaves. And Hashem's, it's interesting because there's a lot of Chazal, a lot of Mefarshim have asked the question, well, why didn't he say like, I created, the earth and the universe, like I created everything. Why this? And I think a lot of the answers was like, this is more important in a way. Not only did Hashem create everything, that's how the Torah starts. Hashem's letting us know he created everything, but Hashem is actively involved every second in world history. He's actively involved in everyone's personal life, and he's directing all the events of the earth, not just as the deists say, not as the founders of America. Actually, they say, a lot of them were deists and Freemasons and all that jazz, Unitarians. Not their idea of the clockmaker. He just makes the clock and walks away. No, this is Hashem made the world for a purpose. He created us for a purpose, and this is the blueprint. And he wants us to get close to him. He wants us to elevate ourselves, to become great spiritual, beings ourselves. And he's saying, I'm actively involved in the history of the world. Don't think that, I just walked away. No, I want
Yeah.
you to be, I want you to be partners. But he's the Melech HaOlam. He's the king of the universe. He wants
Yeah.
us to help. Yeah.
The first commandment is to know and recognize it. The second commandment, Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al panai. You shall not have any other gods or powers in front of me, before me, right? Don't believe in any other thing. No, there is no other power except my power. Everything that you see that has some kind of power, it's because I'm giving them the energy to have that, whatever power it is, whether it's heat, cold, whatever kind of power you may think in the world, strength, even humans. I pump their hearts. I, give them brains, let the nerves flow in their bodies. Okay, I do everything. So you should not believe or think that any other thing has a power. That's the second commandment.
Yeah. No, and like so unfortunately, right. I see a lot of Jewish people, they're dancing around the golden donkey right now, the worship of the Democratic parties. They're dancing around the golden elephant, the worship of the Republicans, the worship, and then the golden Trump. There's a
Yeah.
lot, right?
Everybody in the world is, they
Yeah.
believe in something.
All
If
kinds of
you don't
stuff.
believe in God, you have to believe in something.
All kinds of stuff. Capitalism, communism, whatever ism you want to pick, Zionism, whatever you want to pick. But the key thing here is it's always al panai. It's always before me because there's nothing else. There's only one infinite being. So there can be over 1 billion people saying that God is human. Nope. There's only just one infinite being. They can be saying that, a murderer, a caravan thief is a prophet way after the age of prophecy ended. Nope. It's only this one infinite being. It's only this Torah. This is it. You can copy the Torah 1 million times. It's only this. There's one infinite being and there's nothing else.
Yep.
And this is the tough one for a lot of people. And I believe this also, like these two combine, I believe the Rambam says these two combine into one of the mitzvahs for the B'nai Noah, like that all of mankind should only recognize that Hashem is the one infinite being and there's no other power, and that's eventually Bezrat Hashem what Mashiach will lead the world to. But that's
Yep.
a mitzvah for all mankind.
Yeah. And both are rooted in the positive commandments. The first one is all the positive, 248 positive commandments.
Yeah.
And the second one is all the negative 365 negative commandments. Don't do them.
Yeah.
So they're the
Right,
roots of them.
Right. So this is Sur Meirah. This is all the don't do these things. And this is all the Osei Tov. Do good. Do all these mitzvahs that are going to be connected to that. Good. Yeah, very good. All right, let's journey on.
I think you should go down a little bit more because the third commandment, those are really offshoots of the second commandment.
Okay, not a lot
The
of
third
people.
one is lo tisan.
Okay, you're saying not a lot of people making idols nowadays, or
no. It's just an offshoot of the second one
okay,
of not to say, believe in any other power.
Don't bow down to the statue of man.
So the third one is lo tisai Shem Adonai lecha lashav ki lo yinakeh Adonai et asher yisa et shmo lashav. So don't use God's name in vain. Okay, for no reason, just blurt it out. Right? Because you when you do that, you think like he has no power. Right? You're attributing like, oh yeah, I can talk about him like he's my friend. and so don't use his name for no apparent reason. And this comes from when we write God's name, some people have a custom write G-D or GD to abbreviate it, so we're not using it like needlessly, or if it's erased or something like that. That's the third command. Again, these are important because if you don't have a central authority that's telling you what's right and wrong, then everything is arbitrary. So first we got to establish that there is a main power, a main source that's telling that's an arbiter that's not biased, telling you the objective, correct and incorrect thing in the world.
Yeah, no, and it's wait, so I mean, this is why we say Hashem instead of pronouncing the name. And there's more deeper, even Kabbalistic also level to this, where these names have great power. These names were used by this infinite being to create everything, and these names can't be used for our personal benefit. We only have permission to use them when we're doing tefillah, when we're praying to Hashem. We can only say them like when we're laning the Sefer Torah, when we're singing the Sefer Torah, on Shabbos and Shul or during the week. We can only, like when we're learning, we can pronounce these names if we need it to understand like what we're learning or teaching someone, about the names, but we shouldn't just use it like anytime. But the names have great power. A very holy person can sometimes speak these names and they can be used to save the Jewish people. Like Moses spoke one of the names of Hashem, and it killed the Egyptian who wanted to kill Dasan, I mean, so they're very powerful. These names are very powerful, for those who understand the secrets and it's amazing.
The next, yeah, sorry.
No, that's a
I was just rushing to get the next one. The next one is the pertaining to Shabbat, Shabbos, the Sabbath, the seventh day. So it's a Shesh Yamin. Oh, sorry, Zachor Yom Shabbat Lekocho. Remember the seventh day to make it holy, right? And it says Shesh Yamin Ta'avod. You should work for 6 days. And you should do all your work, meaning your work should be done in 6 days, right? You should see it as if it's finished. There's nothing else. On the seventh day, you should dedicate it to God. Dedicated as a celebration of enjoyment, not doing any work. You're enjoying the fruits of your labor that you did for the 6 days. You have 6 days to work. It's plenty to gather all the resources, everything you need to do. Right? You shouldn't do any types of the 39 forbidden acts to do, because they're creative acts. So we're not being on Shabbat. We're just resting and
we're not doing artistic or creative acts, right? We're not creating anything new on Shabbos. Only during the week are we creating new things. We're doing things that will create new things, right? And that's the malacha.
Yeah, it says you, uvincha, uvitecha, you and your children, avdecha, even your servants should rest, right? We take care of everybody. V'amatecha, your maidservants as well. Uvematecha, and even your animals. We're the first ones to come up with animal rights. So people say like, we might have cruelty to animals. No, we're the religion who taught people about animal rights and everything like that.
Yeah, no, okay? The Torah says a person should never cause tsar bali chayim, should never cause any suffering to any animal needlessly,
right.
Or
right.
And people don't realize that the kosher shechting, when an animal is slaughtered, that's actually that's the kindest way. That's the least painful way for the animal. They come in with these crazy ideas now, shocking the animal and really torturing the animal, as opposed to the from Hashem, who created the animal, says, no, this is the least painless way. This is why we're doing it that way,
Right, and then the next verse is basically saying that just like God created the world in 6 days, He worked for 6 and rest on the 7th. So to you should be godly as well. Emulate your Creator. Work for 6. It's enough to work, and give yourself rest. And 1 day of rest is good enough.
Right, so Hashem created the world in 6 days, but we only have 10 minutes left here on Zoom.
So let's run through them.
So we'll just go through them. But Shabbos is very important. And Bezrat Hashem, like more and more Jews through great things like the Shabbos Project, but more Jewish people are getting to experience Shabbos and how holy it is and just how nice it is to take a break from the
Yes.
crazy pace of the secular world we live in right now.
Okay. Next commandment is כבד את אביך ואת אמך למען יאריכון ימיך על אדמה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך. Next one is honor your parents, both parents, your mother and your father. Okay, and so you will live long on the land, and you should have a lot of blessing. So this one's very important because who's the next in command after your your God? Your next in command is your mother and your father who helped create you. Three partners in creation: mother, father, and God gives you the soul, right? So if you don't have the second in command and a whole family unit, meaning a father and a mother, then it's arbitrary. It goes off the rails. You got to have these two figures who are the next in command that you must honor and give accord to, and they also should be following God.
And what's interesting here too to note is like not only does it promise a long life in this world and the world to come, this mitzvah is saying specifically honor your mother and your father, and the Jewish people can merit the land of Israel. Like this is actually a big merit for land of Israel. We don't hear people talk about this a lot, but this is a great thing. Like if we want Eretz Yisrael, this is the mitzvah. This is one of the big mitzvahs. Like honoring your parents is very important.
Yep. Okay. Next commandment is and those were mainly between God and person. Now we're talking about between people. So the next commandment is lo tirtzach, don't murder. Okay, it's self-explanatory because if everybody went around murdering, civilizations would crumble, right?
Good. Right. So during war, like during war or in self-defense, like if it's a justified war, a person has the ability during those times, especially always in self-defense, a person can always defend themselves, Okay.
Okay. Lo tinaf. So that's don't be immoral or seek out immorality between men and women, like cheating and adultery, more commonly explained, right? Obviously, you see that because if we're sexually being promiscuous and you don't know who's the father, who's the mother, who are we honoring, who are we not honoring, that causes a lot of chaos in society. Lo tignov, right? Don't steal, but this steal means it's more of kidnapping. Don't kidnap people. Okay, people are self-entities. You shouldn't kidnap them because you could see kidnapping people and taking them, moving them around and that kind of stuff. You could see how that definitely destroys society.
No, and the Torah does, right. The Torah does go in other places to mention the mitzvah of actually don't steal property. This is stealing human life. And right, we see the evil of it, of what happened in Israel on October the 7th, the evil of kidnapping, people, and it's just and it angers Hashem. That's not what Hashem wants. And those people that did the kidnapping, they're not acting in the ways of Hashem.
Oh, that's a great example. Are they really following their religion of Islam if they're kidnapping? not that this is meant for Islamists, but you know what I mean. You're not being godly by kidnapping, right?
But I think not stealing, in all aspects is one of the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach. I think that's a mitzvah that applies to all mankind. Like,
not to steal.
Don't murder, and don't steal. Set up your own court systems. I believe these are mitzvahs for all mankind. This is for everyone.
Yeah, of course. If you're stealing property, then obviously you're going to destroy society. You see what's happening in San Francisco and LA, and where you have a threshold. Oh, you can steal up to $1,000 and not be prosecuted. I mean, just insanity, right? Crazy. Total chaos, right? Next commandment is lo ta'aneh be'erecha et shaker, right? Don't bear false witness. Don't go into courts and start lying and say, I saw this guy did a murder, this guy did a thievery, or don't falsify your testimony. Because if you have court systems set up and you do falsify the testimony, then there's no system of justice. Then we can't have an orderly society. Everything breaks down, right?
Yeah.
Next one is lo tachmod bet re'echa. Don't have an urge to covet Do not covet
Maybe
the house of your friend.
desire, like don't desire.
Desiring, yeah. Well, it's specific to your neighbor, like meaning to the another person. Don't covet somebody else's possession.
You know, your neighbor's got $1 million, $2 million house. Enjoy your own house. Fix up your own house. You know, work
Exactly.
hard. You
No
know,
jealousy. No
no,
jealousy.
no, take, see the greatness in your house, in your family, or if you're living in an apartment, work your way up to house. Just, you can get it for yourself. You don't need to desire what other people have.
Right. Lo tachmod eshet recha. Also his wife, not just his possessions. You might want his wife, someone like him, right? Or his her servants. So basically the prohibition of coveting. And then this rounds off our the Ten Commandments, and basically you see that the second half is talking about how to have a normal, orderly society, and you could see that if you teach the kids these things, then they grow up and with good values that'll help each other, as opposed to me all day long. The iPhone, it's all about me. It's all about what's in it for me, basically.
Yeah.
You respect other people, and that's what fosters a good society. Respecting other people, caring for them, helping them out. As opposed to just like what's in it for me lately, Johnny come lately, right?
Yeah. No, it's look, this is it. This is the blueprint. This is good. It's good for people to learn. It's good for people to follow. It's this upside down world where like someone wants to bring in perversity of a drag queen have a horrible effect on a kid, as opposed to the holiness, the Ten Commandments, the Aseret Dibros, to have a good effect on
Well,
children. It's like only in an upside
well,
down world is that possible.
yeah, but if you understand what's really going on, like the quote unquote communist takeover of America, what is it? It's push God out of the system and have men ruling over each other, and so we could control them. We control the herd, right? And get them fighting, divide and conquer them, and then so we can control them. And that's basically the mission. That's the agenda. The agenda that's creeping in. We think it was just a blank, value system. There's nothing. You could go either way. If it's not, they inculcated it with the anti
Yeah.
the anti goodness.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's true. So here's the battle. So as we move forward every day towards Mashiach, Yemotza Mashiach, the battle of the light side of the force, the good, versus the dark, versus the other side, and Bezrat Hashem will be victorious as we move along each day. We hope you all enjoyed it. Any last words or?
No, just keep learning, keep on trucking,
Keep
learning
learning,
and doing.
keep learning. Just do it. Please, give us your comments. We want to hear from you. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and we'll keep on moving along on Sweet and Good Torah and the Gates of Mordecai. All right, hope to see you again soon.